This gives me so many more questions. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer, everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Another disclaimer I would also like to add is just because this channel comes out and talks about something that another channel has does not mean that this channel endorses that channel. Now we can continue. I know that by now quite a few of you have seen the clip where the alleged DoorDash driver has been arrested, and in the body cam where the officer is getting her intake information, she claims that she is not only the DoorDash driver, but you can hear her say something about seeing Bryan. I heard it. I didn't hear it at first. Actually, the person that sent this to me around 12:18 yesterday, I'm recording this right now at around 4:30 p.m. on 6/14. Now, I listened to it straight off the bat at the timestamp that people are claiming this is being spoken about, and I'll admit, and the person that sends me this knows this, I didn't hear the Bryan thing at first. I didn't. I went back in this morning, listened again, and I hear it, okay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't hear it. But honestly, given the background of this woman, given the fact that in this leak investigation, this close to trial, all the insanity, now this is coming out on a little bitty small channel, not to put anything on anything when it comes to that, but I find it really strange that this is just available. I know, again, this pullover is in Washington, and because of the way that the 911 calls are routed, Whitcomb in Washington, there was an entire situation with if they were supposed to actually adhere to that gag order or not. And the story that we got about the 911 call is that it got time for there to be some information coming out. They had waited forever for Washington Supreme Court to tell them if they actually had to abide by the gag order because people were constantly putting in FOIAs for the 911 call information. They never got an answer. Then we started hearing about how there isn't going to be any more secrecy, and oh, we're going to open this and open that, and oh, this is a public document when, you still can't get the information. And now all of a sudden they decided, well, Washington doesn't want to give us an answer. We're not Idaho. We're just going to do whatever we feel is right. And they apparently released it under that scenario. That's the story. So for someone to have taken the MM initials that we got from the court and finally deduced down to this person and then been able to find the body cam footage of an arrest after the gag order where this person would have already been identified, and then it states very clearly in the footage that they are who they are, is odd to me, even if it is coming from Washington, because now this person's identity is out there. It's already out there. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Her information is out there. Now, I personally am not going to get into all of the background information on this woman. I just know that given the history that is coming out with the substance usage and the DUIs and being a dasher, like, I don't understand how that's a thing unless she's using someone else's account, and that's why there was so much confusion maybe about who this person really was, because again, there were some speculations at the beginning. We had a younger woman, then we had an overweight guy who was always getting in trouble for eating people's food, and then a lot of people thought it was Emma Bailey for a super long time. There was plenty of connections there for people to have those sorts of assumptions, but this is not anyone who anyone thought. When the MM initials first came out, people were looking at the inner circle, the inner area of King Road, and they did find a brother and sister that had the same initials, and so a lot of speculation started coming out about that. This, though, circles back. Whatever this channel did in order to find this information, I don't know. They're claiming something with the ID on the DoorDasher site. That's out of my expertise. I don't know what the frick they did. Okay, I'm going to have the link for the whole video down in the description box. I'm only going to show you the clip. The clip where she very much says that she is the driver, that she has to testify, that it's about the college girls, and then she says something else. I want you to very much pay attention. I'm going to play this clip. No edited audio besides making it a little bit louder. I threw a filter over it because who really gives a crap what it looks like? I have to do what I have to do for fair use here on the YouTubes. Follow the rules here. And that's it. So I'm going to let it play. I'm going to put some text up on the screen. And the second one, that is what I hear her saying.
case too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
You have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girls.
Oh.
I'm a DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan
Now I'm going to play it again, but this time I've added the text for what I can hear.
And now I have to testify. Murder case too, so yeah. Because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
You have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girls.
Oh.
I'm a DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan I'm a DoorDash driver, I saw Bryan
Now, I know a lot of people say that they hear her stating that she saw Bryan. Now, again, at first, I didn't hear it. And then I sort of heard it. But then the more that I listened to it, the more that it started to change into what I now placed on there. Something about I DoorDash by myself around here, or for myself around here. Now, at first, I couldn't really tell what that very ending portion that I played for you was that she said. But then if you take the context clues around it, it sounds like she repeats by myself. If you go and you watch the rest of the video, you're going to hear how this officer then says to her something about how all of her medical conditions, does she believe that her medical conditions and her PTSD and all of the things that she talks about right before this, are those the reasons why she's presenting as somebody who is under the influence? That's what this entire thing is. This person gets pulled over. They're claiming that she has substances on her. They're claiming that she is driving under the influence. I honestly don't know here nor there. I just know that there is quite a history with this woman. If you go and watch the channels that have dug up a couple of things, and they all point to substance use, multiple DUIs, several different things like that. So if there is someone who is under the suspicion of driving while under the influence of something that actually isn't, but has a history of doing so, I'm pretty sure that history populates whenever the plate is ran, when the person's information is ran, or, as it seems to be, the officer knew exactly who she was because of a statement that she made, and maybe because of this person's history, they're being treated a little bit differently, because a lot of people in the comments over on the original posting of this are really aggravated by what ended up happening here. Those are my thoughts on it. I'm not going to sit and watch the entire thing. I've skimmed through it. Honestly, that's a case that's over there. I'm trying to figure out what it has to do with what we're doing right here. What she for sure says is that she has to testify in the murder case to do with the college girls because she's the DoorDash driver. Now, again, given the fact that her initials match what we've gotten in a court order, because this is this woman's full name, it tracks. It completely tracks. But here's the thing. If she is indeed stating right here that she saw Bryan, why, oh why, regardless of what state this is in, would this be available to somebody of the public? A lot of people are questioning, is this another mini leak? But I don't know how possible that could be, unless for some reason they've decided to ignore the fact that this exists when it comes to trying to keep things under wraps. But then again, this happened in Washington. The gag order is for Idaho. So maybe Idaho does know that it's out there. Maybe they can't do anything about it. Maybe they could if they did something to like sue the state or something like that. I don't really know how all that stuff would happen. But there's no way that if this woman is really the DoorDasher as she's claiming to be and how things are kind of tracking here, why are we allowed to see this? In the middle of a gag order leak investigation that has called in a special prosecutor, and the defense is now trying to use it as a big reason for why, not every reason or the only reason, but a big reason for why they want to either have this thing completely ixnayed or at least pushed back. We know that the court is putting the majority, if not all of the responsibility and suspicion and accusation for this leak on the state, on the prosecution side, on law enforcement side, not the defense. So why are we seeing this? Are we seeing this because she's not saying that she saw Bryan? Because let's really think about it. If we can sit here and try to deduce down, okay, all the stuff that came out from the gag leak doesn't look like it's going to be usable at trial because it's really a lot of nothing and has nothing at all to do with the timing of the crime scene, or the physical evidence. Literally none of it. Even the video itself, you can't even tell what that freaking car is. Let's be so for real. So what if she's not saying that she saw Bryan? What if it is something more along the lines of what I think I hear about her door dashing by herself? Let's take a look at the timestamps. Because if memory serves me correctly, and again, I'm going to be going into this here in a minute with all of the receipts in front of me and the proof in front of me, but right now, before we jump into that, I'm trying to remember it as best as I can to see how correct I am. Honestly, let's take a look at my brain for a minute. As far as I can remember, the court order from Judge Hippler is claiming that the SV1 vehicle that they are claiming is Bryan's was seen on Ridge Road at 4:01 a.m. It enters the area to start its frenzy of crazy at 4:04 a.m. The DoorDash order, according to the self-authenticating records that now showed us that even though they're trying to say this has something to do with Xana, the order came from Ethan's account. That information is telling us that the order was delivered at 3:59 a.m. Let's go take a look at Linda Lane. Let's listen to a couple of things in the Linda Lane audio. And I know that I have issues with Linda Lane. I know. But whenever you go and you listen to the timing of around the time the DoorDasher would have been there, you can hear beeping like somebody's locking their car. Then you sort of hear it again like they accidentally pressed the lock instead of the unlock. And then you sort of hear a car drive away. If the DoorDasher's timestamps are accurate, there's no way that they would have been still at King Road by the time SV1 got to a stopping point, if that car is involved, in order for whoever was in the vehicle to start whatever they're claiming they started inside the house. I don't see how it's possible. They would have literally missed each other by 2.5-ish minutes or so, given the way that my memory is, bringing it back into my mind's eye. But let's go ahead and pull some stuff up and take a look at some video, some documents, and some audio. Now, I took about a 10-ish minute or so, a little bit less than 10-minute screen recording from a video over on Yori Crime. They also have the other angle of this footage, so I'll have a link for that down in the description box. I'm starting this one at around the 3:56, 3:57 mark, because if we look over at the documents that give us more information on the vehicle itself, it has the vehicle, the SV1 vehicle, coming into the area at around 3:56. It says it goes through to where the cameras are at 3:56. We see some headlights. And then, of course, the timestamps continue on to 3:58, 4:04, 4:05, 4:07, the way they have it mapped here. What I want to see is whenever it comes to 3:59, so in a little bit, 3-ish minutes or so here, whenever we are supposed to be hearing the DoorDasher come in, I want to take account for when we hear the vehicle leaving. Because, like I said, if the DoorDasher left a minute to 2 minutes before SV1 came into King Road's area again at 4:04, there's no way. There's no way that she can be saying what some people are hearing that she is saying, because she would have already been a good, mile or so away from the location. She would have already left. You can hear the vehicle leaving. So, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play up until the 4:04-ish mark, which is why it's, 9 minutes and 53 seconds. Let's take a listen. So as you can see at the top, you can see the headlights right here. This is the 3:56 mark. And as you can see right here, 3:56. They're claiming this is SV1, without real proof or even seeing. I don't know how they can sit there and say that they can see that this is the vehicle they're claiming it is. Now, I know that they have the 11-12 cameras up there as well, but they're not showing us anything else from that camera to even let us see if the car looks similar every single time they're claiming a car comes in. Because it could be a completely different vehicle every single time. And they can't tell because of the way these cameras are. I don't know. But the timing of this is interesting. More timestamps of Linda Lane we're probably going to go through. There's a couple of little things I have in a notebook. I just don't want to I don't want to lean on things or try to start any sort of theories that don't have anything on them based off of something that I see, because I don't know if what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? But there's a couple of little spots we're probably going to look at. Plus, I also want to sit here and compare. There's nothing happening right now, which is why I'm talking and just letting it play. I also want to sit here and compare like multiple angles of things that we do have and sort of stitch them together in a certain way. I don't know if anybody else has done that. If somebody does it after I've said that, be aware I said it right here. And right now in my time, it's 6:40 p.m. Texas time was 6:14. I'm just saying. But I want to do that to try to see every angle they're claiming that they see too when it comes to this. There's a lot missing. Okay, so now we have 3:58. I think we should be seeing something here in a second because I'm hearing something. See, to me, this is the dasher coming from that direction, most likely. Dasher driving. Possibly pulling into the area right about now. Now remember, the delivery timestamp is 3:59. Now we're in 3:59. See, that was like the dasher is now locking their car. Some people question why so many. I actually do that. I do 3 times. Every time. I have to hear it 3 times, even if I'm at home. Now, see, that almost sounds like they maybe accidentally pressed the wrong button. If that's them getting back in their vehicle. We should be hearing something that sounds like an engine soon here. Okay, see, that would be like the dasher going back. So there's maybe she got out the car and had to like go around or to the back to get the food and press the wrong buttons. There's lots of different mix and match scenarios for that. But at this point, to me, she's back in her vehicle. Engine, driving. Driving. And here we're at 4:01. To me, that's the sound of the DoorDasher leaving the area. See, there's no 4:01 on here for the sighting of the vehicle. So at the time that the DoorDasher is in the area, at 3:59 to 4:01, there's no timestamp for the car being in that area. It stops at 3:58 and then doesn't come back until 4:04. So at this point, at 4:02 almost a.m., the DoorDasher would have been out of the area for almost a minute now, with that car right there most likely being what they consider SV1, because they claim that at 4:01 that car was at Ridge Road. That could have been something else too. Because if you look on the other angle, I know there's like a gap, but like all of this right here is missing on that one. But you can see there's actually several cars. Like they're not going this way towards Taylor and into King. They're going like in the other neighborhoods, the other direction. But you can see lights and stuff for like ever. See, people associate that thudding with the King Roadhouse, and I'm like, y'all obviously never lived in a loft apartment area like that. My dad did, and it was like that. Everyone parked at the bottom. Nobody lived at the bottom at all. You had to go upstairs to get to your apartment, and that was what you heard constantly because of the way the building is, because it's empty underneath there. Now, see, I've been talking and talking and talking. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear another car coming in or nothing. We're not even at 404 yet. See how long the DoorDasher would have had to have been out of the area before SV1 would have even gotten there? We're only at 403. Now, I saw something flicker. I saw like a light or something right under the timestamp, but it was like just for like a millisecond, and it went away. I guess maybe somebody going out to their car. I know there's a lot of movement with like people walking around and stuff too in this stuff. That's one of the things I'd like to talk about. Okay, we're almost to 404. See how long it's been? It's somebody's TV. I don't remember the exact second it shows up at the 11-12 stuff on Dateline. I think it was actually closer to 405, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that, though. But look how long. There's no way that even if she did say, I'm the Dasher and I saw Bryan, that it could be accurate. Look at all the time that looks to have been passing by after what we think from sounds, or at least what I believe from sounds to be the Dasher, leaving the area. Look at all this time that's passed. They wouldn't even have maybe even passed each other going down Taylor at this point because of all the time it's taking. This is, I think, around the time that the car comes in to the area. Yeah, I hear it. I hear something. That's SV1 that we just sort of heard. Wishing and worrying. See the lights? This is supposed to be SV1 right here. Do you see how much time has passed? It's so blurry. Like, even like now, looking at it and knowing what people think it is, sometimes to me it looks like a Honda hatchback. I mean, I can't tell what this car is. I know that it has like, you know, a certain window cut or whatever, but to me it looks cut the same way that this one looks cut. Yeah, look how much time passed by. It wouldn't make logical sense that the DoorDasher even saw this car. Now, I brought up the court's order from Judge Hippler just to show you guys that even though we do have the map with the timestamps, they are claiming here once again that SV1 is on Ridge Road at 4:01 and is then captured coming into the area at 4:04. From what we just listened to, there's no way that the DoorDasher and the timestamps that they are giving us and what we are hearing, again, I know it's audio, but what we are hearing says they would have not crossed paths, at least not in a way that anybody would have even recognized anything. There's just no way. I also wanted to show you guys one more time the actual evidence when it comes to DoorDash that they have submitted so far, at least what we in the public can see. They have been telling us this entire time from the PCA that Xana received a DoorDash at around approximately 4 a.m. But whenever this information came out and we finally saw the authenticated record, it actually shows there is a record that's actually dated November 23rd of 2022. So this was before they had any information regarding Kohberger, at least anything that we've been told so far, whenever they got the DoorDash information. And as you can see from scrolling up and looking at the exhibit itself, obviously we're going to have to turn it a bit. This claims that it was 1122 King Road, that it was from Jack in the Box, and that it was dropped off at 3:59 a.m. What we've been told from the defense is that these records came from Ethan's account. They had nothing to do with Xana. Nothing regarding Xana's DoorDash records have been submitted as evidence. So, if we're supposed to believe, according to what we've heard recently, that around the time of the situation going on, that Dylan is seeing Xana on the floor, and again, going on and just playing on her phone and not giving a crap to go back and actually ever put her eyes back on her ever again, we are also supposed to believe that right prior to that, Xana received a DoorDash. But on top of getting this information, they have now moved the TikTok time. We were originally told 4:12 a.m. was the time that they had activity from Xana on TikTok, which is after the DoorDash would have been dropped off and around the time that all the chaos was apparently going on. It wasn't until recently that all of that changed. Now the time went to 3:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time instead of it being 4:12 a.m. That's an hour. That's an hour. That's before the DoorDash was supposed to even have been dropped off. So what are we doing with the DoorDasher? Is this DoorDasher going to say that she handed the food to Xana? Because it came from Ethan's account, and not, 20 something minutes later, Dylan is apparently seeing Xana passed out on the floor thinking that it's just alcohol, according to what we've been hearing anyway. Even describing the position that she was laying in. Okay? So I'm not really quite sure what the DoorDash person with this lady is going to actually be testifying to besides just the fact that she dropped off food. I guess it's going to be if she handed it to someone or if it was left outside. How was it delivered? I'm guessing they probably could tell that from back information if a photo was taken or something like that. Plus, we have multiple cameras, But other than her stating, yeah, I handed the food over to Xana to prove that Xana was still alive at the time that all of this was going on prior, what else can she say given what we've now heard? Given the fact that it's totally logical to pay attention to the timing here and notice there's no way that the DoorDasher would have still been at that location at the time the state's suspect apparently, according to them, showed up. The times don't match. Unless the state's timeline is just completely wrong, which always could be a situation. But who really knows? I want to know what you guys are thinking about all this stuff down in the comments. Again, right now, at the time that I'm recording the end of this, it's been a minute because I have to go back and forth doing a whole bunch of stuff, so it's like 7:20 p.m. I'm hoping to get this out in less than an hour, so fingers crossed you guys are watching the end of this before 9 p.m. on 6/14. Who knows how this is going to go, but I want to know what you guys are thinking now that it's been out here for over 24 hours and you've had a chance to listen to what everyone has to say, do some of your own deductions, listen to it several times. I could be wrong in my assumption. I could be wrong in what I am hearing. I could be wrong in everything in this entire video, but this is my opinion on what's out there in this current situation. But again, I'm really curious what you guys are thinking about all of this stuff. So let me know down in the comments if you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion. Please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all. I know how many of you have it on there. Tisk tisk. So you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.